I just want to share a little bit on the procurement of professional services in terms of where the industry is going. And we've seen a lot of invites from provincial departments, from the metros that are accredited to do housing projects, and the municipalities that have got same accreditation, where they are looking for a PRT or turnkey solution. So I thought we'd just share how that procurement goes about. A client would put out a call out there. They would say they're looking for multidisciplinary teams within the built environment with various technical expertise. You must demonstrate your experience, must be led by a professional in the built environment, and then with the current procurement legislation of 2080, where 80 is the price, 20 is your BEE credentials, and they look at youth-owned, they look at local content, they look at consolidated triple BEE for the consortia. You must have financial statements, you must have sufficient professional indemnity, and your approach paper must demonstrate how you're going to roll out projects, understanding of the communities that you work in, innovation, and other what is called set-aside requirements. These set-aside requirements are things that are causing a lot of problems, particularly for contractors. The 30% set-aside, the set aside for rural, set aside for women, where because the ground is not prepared, we find ourselves at loggerheads with the receiving communities. So we need to be prepared for that. Normally a typical PRT or professional resource team will be made up of town planners, regional planners, environmentalists, property evaluators, geotechnical engineers or engineering scientists, civil engineers, traffic engineers, structural engineers, architects, quantity surveyors, land surveyors, landscape architect, GIS specialists, social facilitators, beneficiary administration specialists, economists, transactional advisors, sales and marketing, heritage specialists, project managers, construction project managers, safety consultants. So in the main, that's what we'll be looking at. You're looking at a self-reliant team that will be able to roll out projects. So it's how the organogram would normally look like. Bigger companies are able to have what we call in-house capacity. We've seen a lot of mergers and acquisitions over the years where we have multinational companies in the country that have got this capacity. But other companies, and we have to collaborate. We collaborate through joint ventures or consortia. There's subcontracting opportunities. Some people also merge to form a bigger company that deals with the project or projects. There's an issue of contract participation goal. Need to understand the institutional requirements, understanding of a system design concept. What I was sharing with you on that Chisanyama, understanding how your end user will use your services or the product that you give to them. Understand the dynamics within the community. Have a clear communication strategy with the clients, local authorities, and the project steering committees. Have a high level understanding of the projects. Break it down in simpler chunks for the people that you're going to engage with in terms of subcontracting, beneficiaries, employment opportunities, people that you're going to employ, skills transfer policies, we have the new buzzword now called enterprise development. How do you take local communities on board on the project in terms of enterprise development? This is a normal project lifecycle curve where on the top we look at the project life stages, and then on the column there we're looking at the techniques that you can apply using a project management body of knowledge principles, and we're saying be aware of your level of influence on the project and the cost that is associated with it should you make any changes on the project. This is a high-level process flow chart on housing provision. It's actually a flow chart from Gauteng Department of Human Settlement, where they look at feasibility stage. You need to identify the project, what is the status quo there, quantify the need, appoint the team, and then they do market analysis, and then develop the scope. And then on the planning side, there's land issues, there's legal issues, securing of the land, statutory assessments like your EIA and water use license, and your geotags, producing documents that are available, start to influence the design of the township itself, and then making sure that that design is communicated to the team that's going to do the actual implementation on that side. So that's the process flow chart up to proclamation of the town, and then the installation of services and the construction of the houses itself. Today's terms, we are now facing new buzzwords called the catalytic project. The minister has launched the project. It's being implemented by through HDA as the implementing agent, HDA being the Housing Development Agency. And then in the province of Gauteng, they have what they call mega projects. We see these terms loosely addressing the same object, or having the same deliverable and objective. The rationale behind it is to say you need to transform the spatial landscape. The picture that we saw in the beginning needs to change. This project should impact on 75% of the population nationwide. Should have a high yield. It's a high yield intervention. There must be innovation. There must be a change in how housing projects are rolled out. And in Gauteng, what they call a mega project, it's a project of 10,000 and above units, which have got different typologies, and it's a mixed use. It's got your gap housing, your BNG, and social housing and bonded. And there must be also other opportunities, commercial, industrial, light industrial, and there's mix of also in terms of ownership, whether it's full ownership, sectional, rental or communal. They targeting partnerships with private developers and other state agencies. But this is a massive project. Our current fiscals cannot really afford this type of projects. I mean, with the department's budget of 34 billion rand a year, what they're talking about here really needs other cash injections from elsewhere. Those projects, Gauteng has got 15 plus 2, KZN about 9, Mpumalanga 1, Free State has got 3, Limpopo 2, Northwest 2, Eastern Cape 6, Western Cape 5, Northern Cape 3. If you look at projects like Oliver and Bosch, project like Cosmos City are the precursors to what we're looking at. If you look at proximity of Cosmos City to its neighbors, you could say a lot has been achieved there. Well, obviously there were lessons learned. In Gauteng, there's Alexander, Alex City, and then there's a Boiketlong, which is in the Val. We are fortunate that we are working on that one. Cullinan Megacity in Pretoria, Daggafontein Megacity in the Ekurhuleni area, Goudrand Megacity, I'm not sure that one where it is, Helderwyk Integrated Megacity, John Dube in the Ekurhuleni near Davidson, Kwazenzele mega development. This one is a special project. It's a rural node which needed to tap into the opportunities that are available on the mega project. So it's not actually a mega project. Lanseria, Airport City, Lerato, Mapleton, Montrose City, mega developments. Nelmapias, mega developments just around the farms Mooiplatz in Nelmapias. Park City, State Vandal, Tswaying and Fakel, what is it? Fakel last mega city, Western mega city, and Vetpoki mega city. So these are the new cities that will be developed. And then, as I say, it's a very ambitious project, which also offer a lot of opportunities for us as the industry. We need to be out there and get to know the developers, form collaborations and partnerships. There will be a lot of bulk work, there will be a lot of internal works that needs to be done. And as I say, the department cannot fund all of this. So some of the funding will come from the department itself, commercial banks, donor funding, and investors for the overall project. Housing components that are linked to housing the masses, the department will fund that, and then we'll have also bonds and loans and credit link. Infrastructure will be funded via USDG or MIC or provincial infrastructure grant. That grant is moving to SHRA now. I didn't write SHRA there. It's going to move to SHRA. DBSA funds some of the opportunities, water and sanitation. In Gauteng, we have what is called Gauteng Propeller Fund that is also interested in funding the mega cities in Gauteng. For social housing, we have SHRA, which will take the peak, and then USDG, commercial bank and investors are part of the social housing funds. There's always an issue with social amenities like your early childhood development centers or your community halls. The municipalities cannot always fund these needs. So other departments in Gauteng will be your DID coming in, or donor funding, or DBSA. Roads and stormwater, USDG or MIC and PIC, and then DBSA, GPF comes in there. They're quite interested in on the shortfalls on USDG, sorry, on HSDG. Sorry. In May, the Department of Human Settlement introduced what they call the Human Settlement Development Bank, which will consolidate the funds that were run via Nature, LHFC, and the Rural Loan Fund. They will come into what is called the Human Settlement Development Bank. It's still under its infancy stage. And then in some instances, the roads department will fund some of the opportunities. The ideal funding model, it's actually a triple P funding model, where on that side you'll see government entities where the government is involved, but the preferred model will be where the developers come with the funds. There's funds available via vehicles such as GPF, as I mentioned. I just have 3 of them. I'm almost done. This is the Nermapius megacity. It's looking at the node around Mamelodi area. So the first site is that one there, which will look like that. So the principle here is to create integration with opportunities of work, high-rise residential, res 2, 3, 4, and also places of work and schools, and integrate with the you can see there's a future K16 road there. This is interesting, a very ambitious project called Alex City. It is bounded on the border of Alexander and what we call this land. Actually, it's on Marlborough Industrial. So there's a lot of private owners that are there. So the developer here must do a lot of negotiations in terms of acquisition of land. Plus the land has got a lot of people staying there at the moment. So there's a lot of fun things that will come out there. Isn't it? It's the first slide that I had about forceful removals. Is it not the same? Okay. This project, John Dube, it's in Ekurhuleni. Ekurhuleni is pushing ahead to say they want to have a university in their metro, and the site of the university will be on this project. It's near Davidson, between Davidson and Benoni. That's how the John Dube development will look like. Some of the feel about it, so you can't see it's a university there, some of the high-rise building, and obviously this is still an artist impression. Would like to see it being implemented. And then towards Sanwat Park, we have a Leopold development. Sanwat is there. You'll see these projects are tucked in just behind what you would normally call high-income areas. So some of the design looks at buffering, natural buffering of the communities, and then up there it's packed in, and then there it's Reicha Park development. This is just a blown up of those three opportunities there. And in concluding, I think it's very important for us to understand the environment that we operate, understand that opportunities are abundant. We need to understand the legislative framework that we operate in. We must start with the end in mind. Understand how the end users will receive your product or design. We need to be innovative. We need to form collaborative partnerships. We need to participate in creating the future spatial transformation. We need to get involved. On that note, I'd like to thank you.